Welcome to Overwatch. This time I'm going to be talking about the September 22nd announcement of the 2 new heroes. So this video is going to be a little bit different from the normal analysis videos. I just want to get something out on the release of the new information. There will be an analysis video coming for both heroes and also for any of the gameplay previews that follow. As usual, I want to hold off on making a video immediately just so I can get the better footage from the gameplay preview and fully understand everything that the character is capable of, because we got some interesting stuff here and it's kind of exciting to see. Now, I was very pleased to see that we are getting 2 new heroes, and they are both of the same theming. They are both these Australian Junker gang members. I think someone very clearly liked Mad Max. And it's kind of cool, because in the Soldier 76 video I made some predictions about, space denial and area denial not being in the game so much, at least not in a direct sense, and these 2 characters have it in spades. So the first character I want to talk about a little bit is Roadhog and sort of my impressions of him. I'm just going to be watching the training video for him and just commenting over it. Some of the cool things I can see this character doing and how he's going to actually interact with the game. Because he's got a hook, and that's kind of interesting and new. So his main weapon is a scrap gun. It's going to be, fairly short range, but he does have a right click which gives it a slightly longer range, meaning that this guy's going to be a pain in the ass in choke points. This guy to me screams choke point, choke point, choke point, choke point. He's going to control any kind of narrow corridor or any narrow space, and he can do so much with that. I mean, having the longer range option on the shotgun, basically the way this seems to work is it launches a projectile, explodes, and does some damage. The hook, though, is insanely good. Simply, oh, poor Widowmaker. Poor Widowmaker. She gets so abused in these videos. The hook, I can see it fishing through chokes, and if you grab the right person, they're just done. Take a breather, kind of nice. It's about 300 hit point heal, and yeah, really nice, really useful. One kind of thing I'm interested in with this guy's model is the way he moves. He seems to bounce around a lot, and his head bounces around a lot, so I'm curious to see how easy it is to get a headshot on him. Ultimate, Whole Hog, that's a siege breaker if I've ever seen one. Also could just cancel the momentum of a push. Really wide arc. Yeah, that's just going to screw up anyone trying to get into any space. That's really cool. And then I like the fact that he's got a custom line for pulling fire out the air. I feel very sorry for any firers trying to deal with Roadhog. Really cool hero. So like I said, he's going to be just a terror in choke points. The only people I can see surviving getting grabbed if Roadhog has his team with him are the people like Tracer, Reaper. They have instant things to be able to do with it. Also, the tanks can probably handle it. I'm curious to see how his hook interacts with shields. We don't know if it will go through a shield at the moment. We don't know if it will go through, Reinhardt's shield, Bastion's shield. That's going to be big if it does. We don't know the range of it. We don't know how, if it always pulls straight to him, if there's a fixed distance on the pull, that kind of thing. That's part of why I want to wait to see the gameplay preview so we get a better idea of how all of this actually works and interacts. Otherwise, interesting hero, quite fun, more offensive tank, more aggressive tank I would say, more damage output certainly than Winston for example, but has less mobility, better range, less overall disruption, but more focused disruption. He can just control, he's going to be the king of a choke point, and that's him, that's Roadhog. And next up we have Junkrat. Cool thing about Junkrat, one really nice touch on an art style thing, is the fact that his soot and the way his mouth is clean, it adds to that rat look. I think that's such a nice little subtle touch. It gives him that rat look, because he has the pink mouth and nose, but the black forehead and the rest of him. This concussion mine, really cool. I mean, his grenade launcher, fairly standard grenade launcher. Good stuff. This concussion mine is kind of cool, and notice that it does about 125 damage to poor Widowmaker. That's a really big explosion as well. Like, that is pretty hefty in terms of how far it launches you. Now, she's pretty much stood right on it, so we don't know, how its range tapers off and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's pretty intense. That's really nasty. This steel trap, really not sure on how. So with both of these traps, I'm not too sure on how it interacts with being shot, for example, if you can just shoot them and clear them. Or if you have to trigger them somehow, to get rid of them. Gonna be interesting to see in the gameplay preview how that works out. Riptire, this is like Bastion and Tourbillon's worst nightmare. This is a siege breaker again. Just throw that in. It only has 50 hit points. This is a big thing that I noticed watching this video. It only has 50 hit points, so that's going to die immediately if you don't come in from the flanks. Luckily, it can go at walls. Total mayhem, this is probably going to be the most satisfying thing in the world if you do get a kill with it. Just a nice little screw you. Good little touch. But this guy looks like he has a really high skill cap. Like, watching him, watching how he plays, you've got to be thinking in terms of controlling space and manipulating space, and he's going to reward good players so much. He's also Overwatch's second spam character, so if you talk to Team Fortress 2 pros, they'll talk about spam characters, and for them that's the soldier and the demo man. And the idea of a spam character is you fire into the choke, or you fire into a choke point that you want to control, and you just keep firing, keeping pressure there, and occupy space in that choke point with damage. Now, originally we only had Pharah to do that. Now, in Overwatch there are ways around spam, like it's very easy to shield it, it's very easy to get some characters that can jump past it or find a flank, but it's still an important part of the game, it's still an important part of controlling space. And this guy is even better than Pharah at it. So if you want to control space, you have a tank that controls a choke point, and you have this guy who can easily lock down choke points with the bear trap. He can make it hard for anyone to move through with the concussion mine. He can just completely demolish like everything with the Riptire. The thing with the Riptire, I imagine, is it's going to be very difficult on a good team to actually get it through to hit the enemies. Like, they have to be really focused on something else, otherwise someone's just going to see it and pop it immediately. Now, if it still does full damage, how big the blast radius is, we don't know, we haven't seen the full details of that. I do know that some people did get a hands-on at Blizzard fairly recently. I was not a part of that, unfortunately. I don't think Blizzard can afford to fly me out every single time. These guys will probably be available at the Road to BlizzCon event, so if you are going to that, it would be curious to see how much comes out of that event in Prague in early October. And yeah, it's exciting times. So this is just a quick video to just say, hey, these guys are pretty cool. If you like the idea of being a complete arsehole to fight against and try and push through and just saying, hey, this is my territory, then these are the guys for you. Now, I've spoken a lot about breaking chokes and holding chokes, but one of the interesting things about Roadhog, and this is going to be a more general meta thing, is talking to some TF2 pros and talking to some, FPS people. The thing with Overwatch is it's going to be very built around getting subtle advantages, finding those advantages, finding that ultimate charge, and then trying to get your power spike before they get theirs, trying to get as many ultimates as you can, using them to sort of snowball the first point and take the first point and use that. So the first exchanges done by the teams are going to be very important for establishing that advantage. Roadhog is going to be incredibly useful in establishing that advantage. If you can land a hook, that's instantly going to get you a kill probably, and that's going to get you charge, that's going to get you, some ultimates earlier than the enemy team, and you can use that to sort of snowball an advantage and start building up and building up and building up. Now, it depends how easy and hard it is for Roadhog to land those hooks, and that's going to be so crucial. It's also the trade-off of having Roadhog on the team. He's fairly short range, he's a big target, he only has a self-heal for protection, so unlike the other tanks who have their own shields that can regenerate, they have more mobility. Roadhog just sort of has to tank the damage, and so he can go down pretty quickly in my opinion. Like, he has a self-heal, but that's not going to be very useful when you're in combat. So yeah, he needs to be careful. So otherwise he's a big squishy target, but he has the potential to get you that first advantage very quickly in a very dramatic fashion, similar to how Pudge works, similar to how BlitzCrank works. You can get a very easy and quick first blood with either of those characters. So yeah, this is a quick ramble video. The proper analysis, the more structured analysis, will be coming soon. Otherwise, thank you for watching to the end. I have been One Amongst Many, and I hope you enjoy watching. Toodles.